Hello, everybody, and welcome into another snow-filled edition of the Rundown. Brandon Worth, Blake Thomas joining you here to recap CSAA basketball coverage for both girls and boys hoops. Blake, we got another great week ahead, and for the boys, 1 week to get your things straight before the postseason. Girls only have two, and we're winding down to conference championship season as well. Very exciting time in basketball for girls and boys right now.
Yeah, for the boys, you've got 5 days to put in work before the district brackets are set, so you can start preparing. And the girls have roughly 13 days, maybe 12 days as well, to get your work in and find a way to raise that MPR score so you know who your district opponent is, so then you can start preparing. Personally, it's my favorite time of year. I know like boys districts doesn't start in March, but it's definitely starting to feel like March.
Absolutely. It can't get here any closer. We're going to talk some district hoops, but we'll obviously recap early week and then we will get into late week previews, scores to look forward to, as well as we'll get you just a snippet of what the district seating bracket might look like for boys and girls. We'll start the first half of the show for boys, but don't worry, we won't skip out on the girls. That will be in the second half of the show, so you can fast forward if you're looking for that. But before we get started, big thanks to Dazos Digital. Target your target audience with the experts of Dazos Digital. Digital media, graphic design, programmatic display, audio, video streaming, the whole nine yards. Visit DazosDigital.com for more. Starting with the boys side here, Blake, we had some games Monday and Tuesday. We'll start on Monday. White Cloud getting that makeup game in against Chip Hills at home, getting the victory, dominant fashion by 22. White Cloud hadn't been playing some of the best basketball, but they get their get back on Monday. Tuesday, Big Rapids dominating Lakeview at that game. Obviously, Lakeview started off very strong, but Big
Yeah.
Rapids able to run away with that one at the end. Grant holding off White Cloud 48-43. I mean, White Cloud especially has played some better basketball as of late. Kent City holds off Tri-County on the road 75-57. Newaygo goes to Orchard View, puts up a good fight, but just falls short by 4 there against the Cardinals. Reed City falls to Central Montcalm at home by 20. The Hornets get their get back in a big way, as well as Morley Stanwood knocks off Chip Hills in a little regional tussle there by 5 in Remus. But obviously out of those scores, Blake, we obviously watched the Big Rapids Lakeview game. Dominant there for the Cardinals, but it looks like White Cloud especially playing some good basketball, and Central Montcalm also got their get back this week.
Yeah, I was really surprised by both White Cloud scores, to be honest. You beat a Chip Hills team who's been playing really, really well over the course of the last couple of weeks, and you beat them by 22. And then you play, the CSAA leader right now in either division, the Grant Tigers, and you only lose by 5. And not just that, you hold them to 48 points, which is way below their season average. And then on the flip side, you've got Central Montcalm against Reed City. Evan Royalston, again, he's the leader. He's the guy that does a whole lot for that group, as well as they're well coached. Shane Ingles, you saw some of the things that he did here when he played Big Rapids, where he was chasing Cole and Gabe to the concession stand. Wherever they went, he sent guys with them. So at the same time, he probably pulled out the stops a little bit. Reed City's still figuring out a young group. Again, we say it every time. They graduated 5 kids from last year. You returned one guy who played substantial minutes. And you've got a Central Montcalm team that's playing with confidence right now. So it's kind of the perfect story. The Coyotes get beat by Big Rapids pretty handily on Friday night, and just that momentum, and especially keeping a young team engaged can be difficult, especially when you're not experience a ton of success. So kudos to Central Montcalm going in, and it was a 3-point game at halftime. They stretch it out to 20 by the end of the game. So a great second half for the Hornets, and a good win for that program.
Absolutely. And with that, we take a look at the standings right now in the red division. We'll get to the white in just a moment. Grant at the top, 8-0, 17-2. Right now, they went out. They're going to have a chance to win it outright in the last game of the season in the regular season. Big Rapids, they go through unblemished the next 2 games. They're going to have an opportunity as well to get a share against Grant, assuming that they were to win all their games. Obviously, there's still a long ways to go in consideration of 2 pivotal games coming up. Newaygo in third at 4-4. Chip Hills battling right with him there at 3-5. And then Tri-County and Reed City battling to not be on the bottom the rest of the way. And then especially you look at the white division. We highlighted this part last week, Blake. The standings were very, very tight. And Kent City did a major move forward, winning those games
Yes.
early in the week. 5-1 now. Central Montcalm has kind of fell out of the race. They're going to need some help the rest of the way at 4-3. Morley Stanwood though does have a chance here at 4-2, and I believe those two teams will meet next week as well. So that makes it
Yes.
even more interesting. But we'll get to those games in just a moment. White Cloud and Lakeview, they're near the bottom. But on the red division right now, it feels like it's a broken record. We've said it. It's a
Yeah.
two-horse race the rest of the way at this point. But the white division still, I mean, Kent City really, it feels like, especially after that early week win, they feel like now they are really the team everybody's chasing instead of this three-way toss-up. They look like they're the team to beat right now in the white.
Yeah, but they still have to go to Morley next week and find a way to get revenge. Morley with probably the best win in that conference with a road win at Kent City, and now they've got to find a way to complete that to earn a share. Even though they would have two head wins, but they would earn a share with Kent City there. But yeah, Kent City played with a lot of momentum. Beat Tri-County earlier this week by 18. A good program who was pretty young last year, returned a lot of good players. We got a big lefty in the middle, good soccer player as well. For the life of me, can't remember his name, but a good ball player. Did a lot of really nice things for them last year when we went there and played. So you got to find a way to limit his production when Morley sees them next week. But it's gonna be really cool to see. You've got the CSAA white being decided on February 21st, and potentially the gold being decided on February 21st as well.
Absolutely. It took us 2 months, but we got the divisions right. It feels like we have a firm grasp going the
Yes.
rest of the way. Speaking of both divisions, games to watch here at the end of the week. It's a little bit of an odd week because of some schools not having school on Friday pushes games to Thursday. So we have a 3-3 split. Cedar Springs hosting Central Montcalm. Good luck to the Hornets against a good Red Hawk team. That's a tough gym to play in as well. We
Yes.
experienced that as Cardinals fans last year. White Cloud goes to Kent City. Let's see how the Indians roll with those last two games, see if they can spoil something there in the nest for the Eagles. And then Big Rapids, obviously, will be headed to Newaygo. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Mother Nature doesn't have other ideas, and those games will be played
Yes.
Thursday. Friday, Chip Hills goes to Tri-County. We'll see if the Vikings have something in store. Chip Hills can play that dominant defense they played all year. Molly Stanwood goes to Lakeview. Not the easiest place to
No,
play in.
not at
Lakeview
all.
has done really well playing at home this year. We'll see if they can spring one together. And then Grant will go to Reed City. And obviously, Blake, the number one game we're looking forward to as Cardinal fans, right, is going to be going to Newaygo. That's a pivotal game to get yourself in position to play for a championship next Friday. But it really does feel like Kent City White Cloud might be a very interesting game on Thursday night as well.
Yeah, the Kent City White Cloud game, if Mr. Robinson gets going for White Cloud, all bets are off. He's probably definitely a top five player in that league. So if he can get going early, all bets are off. And it would be really interesting to see the White Cloud Indians play that role of spoiler and setting up an outright championship game on February 21st. If Morley's able to take care of a good Lakeview team. I thought the score last night wasn't necessarily indicative of the strides that Lakeview has made. They've got some good pieces. Got into foul trouble a little bit against the Cardinals last night, but they've got some good pieces. Played with the Cardinals for about 12 minutes, which was, I thought, a pretty good performance by them. They just didn't have the horses to run with the Cardinals in that second half. But, that's an interesting place to play, a small gym. And I could see them definitely giving Morley problems on Friday night.
We will wait and see for sure. And taking a look at the district before we get over to the women's, we'll lay these out here on the screen for you if you guys can follow along. Obviously, we'll highlight D35 and then we'll get to the other notable ones.
Yep.
Right now, Big Rapids, unfortunately, basically has all but confirmed their third spot. They will be playing on
Yes.
Monday. Thanks to an upset win, Manistee knocking off Whitehall somehow, way, shape, or fashion. They got it done late, buzzer beater, all the dramatics of March Madness in early February. So Ludington will take the 1 seed. Hart all but seals number 2. Big
Yep.
Rapids can't be caught, but they will be the 3 seed. And that makes it interesting because Fremont's locked in at the 4, Newaygo and Reed City. Thursday and Friday night, not only those games itself, it's not like if one wins, they're going to block it in. They got to have their other teams that they've played this year win as well, because you might see Big Rapids there at 499. They were at 509, I believe,
Yeah.
on Tuesday night, but because almost all of their teams lost, whether it was Whitehall, some of the other conference teams all
Yep.
losing, that drops their NPR down. So even though Nuevo might necessarily lose, Reed City might win, it's going to be indicative on the opponents as well. But right now, we might see Misiola Part 3, Blake, in the first round of the districts and
Yes.
quarterfinals. How good would that be?
That would be, anytime you get to see a rivalry game three different times in a season, it's always fun to watch. It's a fun rivalry to be a part of. But at the same time, the Coyotes play the Tigers right on Friday night, and their NPR is higher than Big Rapids Grants is. So even if the Coyotes lose, you could see that flip just because the discrepancy is 43 points, right? So and the Coyotes are only 3 points below Newaygo. I could see it definitely flipping. Just even if the Cardinals win, the Tigers win, I could see them flipping, and it could be Big Rapids seeing Newaygo for a third time on their home floor on the Monday night of a district game.
Going to be a lot for sure that will be on the line Thursday and Friday night before Sunday's draw. And we'll get that coverage for you next week as well, once the assignments are out, boys and girls, for theirs next week as well, next weekend, I should say. Looking a little bit at some of the other districts, D36 we'll go through really quickly. Chip Hills in that one. Gauntlet, to say the
Yes.
least. That Jack Pine can play basketball. You see Standish in there, Gladwin, Ogama. That's the three-headed monster. Claire can do some things, right? Can they have that consistency? We'll see how that plans out. District 40 at Portland, Central Montcalm in that one. Right now, they're locked in basically as the 4 seed. They might
Yep.
flip with St. John's to the
Yeah.
5 seed. They're going to be playing on Monday regardless. It's just who they're playing. Portland and Ionia. That's a really tight race for the top spot. Belding in the mix there as well. And so both of those teams there in the formerly the gold, almost said it again, the red,
Yep.
Chip Hills and Central Montcalm, they're going to be playing on Monday night, and they're going to have a tough road ahead of them to try to win district title.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at D36, it's in Standish. Reed City played Standish early in the year, and Coach Walsh said at that point in the season, that's the best team they had seen all year. And their NPR reflects that 628, that's in the top probably 20% of anybody in the state. So that's a gauntlet. And then you've got Gladwin, who's a good team right behind him, Ogama Heights, who's always a tough out, right behind them. And then you look at D40, a lot of the Lansing area schools where I'm originally from. Portland is been all right all year long. Ionia's kind of been up and down, but recently been on the upswing. And don't forget about St. John's there as well. Even though they're at 458, their JV team actually came up and played in a couple of scrimmages at Big Rapids High School a couple summers ago and won the thing. So they've got a good group there. Just you in the CAAC in the Lansing area, you play some tough teams. Even though their record isn't great, their NPR is still a little bit higher because of the teams that they play.
Absolutely. And looking at some of the other ones really quickly, you got Grant, as well as Sparta and Forest Hills Eastern joining Tri-County there in District 41 for Forest Hills Eastern. Grant looks to be the one that can take care of that one by themselves. We'll see if anybody else
Yeah.
has anything in mind. My personal favorite might be District 72 in Shelby. You have the 5 seed as the host,
Yes.
right? Neutral floor. You got Pine River, who's playing some good basketball in the Highlands. Some of those boys have been great to watch. Mason County's always a tough out. We saw
Yes.
that in the District 35 last year. Manistee, we mentioned that name already, beat a team called Whitehall earlier on just this week. So you never know with them.
Never know.
And then you have White Cloud playing some of their best
Yeah.
basketball all year. And those are the 4 teams all playing on the road. The 5 seed, of course, we always know the home team can spoil anything district
Oh,
time. That's going
always.
to be a fun one. And then as well, just to highlight before, District 73 at Lakeview. Montebella right now by far the lead in this one. Kent City chasing Morley Stanwood right behind Ravenna there as well. Those teams look to try to play spoiler there in Lakeview, which is a tough shooting gym for some of those
Yes.
offensive teams, so we can see how that relates. But Blake, looking at some of those brackets, what are some things that come to mind looking at those?
The Forest Hills Eastern one with Grant is interesting because one of Grant's two losses was actually to Sparta, 80-73 earlier this year. So there are teams that in that bracket that can get them. So it's not a foregone conclusion, even though their NPR is about 26 points higher than anybody else's. There's a chance that they can get upset in that district. And then you look at District 72, like you said, Pine River's the 1 seed, gonna be the 1 seed with a 579 NPR. And then Mason County Central, Manistee, you never know. You could flip flop there. And Manistee is, you tell me, they lost to Pine River earlier in the year by 34, but also they upset state ranked Whitehall at Whitehall last night with a packed house because they retired Camden Thompson's jersey and and Manistee spoils the entire party. So if you're capable of beating Whitehall on a night like that, you're capable of beating anybody in District 72. And then you look at District 73, Montebello is going to be the top seed. But then we talked about also next week on February 21st, the two and the three seed that are currently the two and the three seed play each other. And it could be whoever wins that one also earns the bye in District 73. So again, you have meaningful basketball games all the way up till the end this year, and that's how it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. It's going to be great to see. And we'll obviously cover more of the district assignments when the seeding comes out after this coming Sunday. We'll flip to the girls' side first. 796-7000. If you want your business advertised here with local sports, call us and we'll get you on the rundown as a supporter of local sports. Looking at the girls' scores here, Big Rapids takes care of Lakeview on the road, 55-42. White Cloud with a big win over Chip Hills on the road, 37-35, and a really tight game there. And then Tuesday matchups, Central Montcalm just holding off Reed City, 3-point game, 47-44. Newaygo takes care of Holton at their place, 55-27. As well, Kent City takes down Tri-County at home, 69-51. And Morley Stanwood defeats Chip Hills by 20. Grant holds off White Cloud just by 2. And so those some notable scores there. Blake, which ones catch your eye?
That first one there where we talked about, Big Rapids and Lakeview. Good to see that Big Rapids, a little bit more offensive firepower after struggling against a really scrappy Reed City team, a team that it just feels that it's right on the edge of turning it around and winning some games down the stretch. I was really, really impressed by their performance last Friday, taking Big Rapids at home on senior night to the brink. But also, you look at who was I going to say again here? I apologize.
Okay. There's a lot of teams here, Blake.
Yeah,
It's hard to
it was good
memorize
to
them all.
see. It was good to see White Cloud and Chip Hills play in a competitive match. But also the Reed City game, I was going to say, losing to Central Montcalm by 3 again. That just reinforces they're right there. They're playing really close ball games. Look at them in District 35 being able to, they may have a say in an upset or two. They opened the season with Ludington, lost to them by 4, 25-21. So they're still figuring it out a little bit. But overall, the big one is Thursday, right? For tomorrow night for the girls, it's Newaygo, Big Rapids. It's also when we get into District 35 talk on the girls side, which is again one of the toughest districts in the state. You're gonna see that game has more meaning than just the CSAA championship as well. So you see Newaygo winning ball games. They're right around 15-2 now. Big Rapids at the same record there. So a huge one on Thursday. And a lot of girls teams in this area playing their best basketball moving forward.
Absolutely. Taking a look at the standings on the girls' side, starting with the red, Big Rapids at top 9-0. But as you mentioned, Blake, the number 2 and number 1 will collide in Newaygo. If Newaygo wants to clinch a share, they gotta have a win on Thursday. It's an absolute must at this point, considering Big Rapids' schedule next week. Then you have Grant and Reed City right there in the tussle, right in the middle of the field, and then
Yep.
Tri-County and Chip Hills battling to not be at the bottom, as they would say. And then looking at the white division as well, right now it's a 2 horse race. Kent City and Morley Stanwood
Yeah.
right there. It's going to come down to likely next week's game between those two teams meeting there in Morley. And then obviously Central Montcalm, Lakeview, and White Cloud battling for position the rest of the way and momentum going into the postseason. And that leads into some of the big games coming up here this weekend, or I should say the end of this weekend of the weekend. February 13th, that's Thursday. Kent City hosting White Cloud, Morley Stanwood hosting Oak Ridge. Very interesting to
Okay.
see how that
Yes.
matchup goes. And then Newaygo obviously hosting Big Rapids, as we said. And then Friday, Central Montcalm hosting Fowler, an athlete central school in
Yes.
Fowler. Even though they're a small school, do
Yeah.
not overlook Fowler whatsoever. Tri-County hosting Chip Hills. And then Morley Stanwood going to Lakeview, Grant going to Reed City. And so those matchups are big. I think right now, I hate to be the one that's like, yeah, I'm picking one over the other. Thursday looks awesome. Friday, not as much, but it's still going to be a lot of pivotal points here, especially NPR points, considering these games coming up this week.
Yeah, the biggest thing is if you're Kent City and you're Morley Stanwood, you've got to find a way to continue to win. The Oak Ridge game for Morley is going to be, one of those ones that's going to boost your NPR anyway, because that's a team that plays in the Western Michigan Conference that is one of the better basketball conferences in Western Michigan. So if you're Morley, you got to continue to find a way to win those games. So you continue building the NPR. Same thing with Kent City. And then again, Newaygo and Big Rapids are both above 570, eight. They're 10 points. Newaygo is actually a little bit higher than Big Rapids right now in NPR points. But that one, like I said, whoever wins that one, it's gonna flip flop. And if Big Rapids wins, they're looking like they're gonna get a bye heading into that second round of districts.
It should be very exciting indeed. We'll go through the girls' district very quickly, starting with D35. Fremont, by far the team that's going to earn the
Yes.
number one seed, no doubt about it. Newaygo, Big Rapids, Ludington. There we go. The three-sided coin again shows up. I mean, this is going to be a pivotal next game in a week, or I should say a week and a half of games. And then you have Reed City battling as well. Them as a 5 seed is also very scary the way they've played the
Yes.
last couple of weeks. And so that'll be interesting. D36, you have Chip Hills there towards the bottom, Central Montcalm in the meat of District 40 there in Ionia. And so we'll see how those teams do. And then obviously for District 41, Grant at the top. They really have a big opportunity
They
ahead,
do.
although it's at Tri-County, very favorable there. District 72 should be interesting. Hart, the Hovies, obviously still making their mark there in the Hart area. Right now, the Pirates look to be the one to run away. We'll see if White Cloud has something to say about that. And then District 73, you don't have enough Morley Stanwood, Kent City. You're going to have more of it. Have some
Yes.
more. There's those teams probably right now, hands down the favorites there in District 73.
Yeah, especially we started District 73 right there. It's looking like we should or could have a third game between those two. I'm not sure if it's a rivalry, but it should be because they have been in the CAA or the CSAA white and whatever it used to be called, royalty when it comes to playing on the hardwood, right? It's either the Kent City girls or the Morley Stanwood girls winning it year in and year out. Same thing on the boys' side. So again, you could have at Holton on a Friday night, you could have Morley Stanwood, Kent City, part three for a district title. Doesn't get any better than that. Granted, you got to find a way to beat a good Ravenna team. Lakeview's been playing better as well. But if I was a betting man, those two are going to be playing for a district title on Friday night. District 72, Shelby's having a good year. Read a little article about them having a good year. But Hart's got Addie Hovey, and we watched her play in our gym last year. Definitely a top five player in the district as a junior last year. I'm sure she's taken leaps and bounds. So Hart's got to be the favorite in that one. Like you said, Grant, huge opportunity. Grant's the odds-on favorite. Sparta hasn't won a game yet this year. Tri-County, we've seen them twice. They're struggling a little bit as well. And Comstock Park at a 399 with only, a 23% winning percentage. So their record's pretty low as well. Also, Grant's got a great opportunity to hang a district trophy, put that in the rafters. And it's always big to win a district. Anytime you can, you take it for granted. Big Rapids boys being a part of, we won it 3 out of 4 years, and then haven't won one since. And then you get into District 40. Portland is a powerhouse. They've been a powerhouse for years now in girls basketball. Actually beat Newaygo, I believe, a few years ago in a game at the Breslin Center. And then you've got St. John's again, a good team, and Central Cobb looks like they're going to be the 3 seed. They're not going to catch St. John's. Maybe Belden can catch them. They're only 15 points behind. But a 5-team district, Central Cobb hangs onto that 3 seed. You get a bye. You only have to win one to be playing on Friday night. D36, that one again looks like a Jack Pine Conference a battle. You got Ogama Heights bringing up the bottom, but then you've got Clare, Standish, Sterling, and Gladwin all in that top three, and then the big one, District 35, the one that everybody's waiting to hear about. Fremont, odds-on favorite right now. We're just looking at the record. They got a 629 MPR. Lost one game, I believe, this year, maybe
I think
one,
just one or
just
two.
one ball
It might be
game.
two. Might be two.
And they've played Ludington twice and beat them up pretty good. Who's a good team in this district. But then you look at the next 3 teams: Newaygo, Big Rapids, Ludington. The good news is Big Rapids is stuck there in third. If they beat Newaygo tomorrow night, if the games are played, they're going to jump them. But as well as you look at the upcoming, the final 3 games before districts are drawn, Newaygo plays Big Rapids, but then they play White Cloud where it's going to drop a little bit. And then you get Central Montcalm that's in the 500s where it'll probably stay pretty steady. But Big Rapids gets Newaygo, Kent City, and Grant all in the fives. So regardless of what happens, and I think Big Rapids is probably the favorite in all three of those games as well. They could jump. I don't think they're going to catch Fremont, but a two seed is definitely not out the realm of possibility. And then Ludington gets Orchard View, who's traditionally not the powerhouse on the girls' side, but then you have Traverse City Central, a D1 program. You're going to get some NPR points, and then Montague, who's always a formidable opponent, a really good athletic program over there as a whole. So District 35 is wide open, and unfortunately, it's at Fremont, one of the tightest rims, in the entire state of Michigan, in my opinion. You've played there, I've coached there. If you don't hit all string, it's probably not going to go in. Yeah, the shooters rules are few and far between there. The other thing is if you win that district, guess where you get to go back for regionals? You go right back to Fremont for a regional semi. So hopefully Big Rapids gets to see, Fremont's gym at least three more times, getting that district win as well as winning that first game in regionals. Then all bets are off after that. That's going to be a really fun one to be a part of. Those are going to be ones I'm definitely going to go check out when it's district time for the girls.
Absolutely. Going to be some great basketball. And especially going back to the boys' side, just for one last point, they get through Newaygo, they're going back home, right? If the
Yes,
Cardinals can win through, they're back on their home floor.
yes,
Rub your palms together. That's exciting. And if they were to also win the regional to get to the quarter,
yeah,
back in Big
right
Rapids
back at
again.
home.
So there's
Yes,
a lot to play for when it
yes.
comes to Big Rapids boys and girls. We look forward to seeing how it goes for all the CSAA teams, and we hope to wish them the best of luck when it comes district time. But we got to finish the regular season first. As much as we want to talk about it, we'll break down the district seating for boys next week. The girls are following in depth, myself and Blake. You can also catch us on the call, assuming the game is a go, tomorrow night, Thursday at Newaygo. It's going to be a great one. We'll start pregame at 6:30 p.m. and we'll have tip-off at 7 there from the home of the Lions. Hopefully we can see a Cardinals win, and I should say a pair of Cardinal wins there in
Yes.
Newaygo on Thursday night. And it's going to be a great finish out to the month of basketball. Blake, can't wait to hang with you and call some games on the way.
Yeah, can't wait. Lots of meaningful basketball, lots of big games coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be an awesome time.
It's going to be an awesome time indeed. Be sure to follow Big Rapids Daily News on YouTube for all the rundown episodes, for broadcast information, as well as local scores. Big Rapids Daily News, Facebook, Instagram, and X. And until next time on the rundown, Brandon Worth, Blake Thomas signing off. We'll see you later, everybody.